This is the incredible story of the ring that returned home. It was love at first sight for Kayla when she saw Chris at a mutual friend's party. The two started chatting and soon they were inseparable. They went on their first date a few weeks later. Chris was so romantic. He took Kayla to a cozy restaurant followed by a walk in the park where he got down on one knee and proposed to her with a beautiful sapphire engagement ring. Kayla said yes through tears of joy. All her friends and family loved Chris, so when he came to meet them, they welcomed him with open arms. After a year of blissful marriage, Kayla and Chris decided it was time to start a family. But before they could begin that journey, tragedy struck. Chris was deployed to a war zone. He promised his wife he'd be back before she knew it, and she believed him. It was late at night, and Kayla was fast asleep when suddenly a loud bang woke her up. She sat up in bed and tried to calm her racing heart. Was it just a dream? No, the house was on fire. She had to get out fast. As she ran for the hills, she heard something fall to the ground and break. It was the sound that would haunt her for the rest of her life. When the fire was finally put out, nothing was left of the house but ashes. Her neighbors told her they saw a man running away from the blaze. Could it be Chris? Had he set the fire? Why? Did he want her dead? These questions kept her up at night, but she had no answers. She never saw Chris again. Years went by, but the pain of losing her husband never faded. One day, a local child found something strange in the rubble of the burned-down house. What was this mysterious object? Keep watching to find out. The child ran to his mother and showed her the unusual discovery he'd made. She couldn't believe her eyes. How could this object have been lying here all this time? Together, they carefully brushed off the dirt and grime until it was clear what it was. It was a metal band with some kind of stone in the middle. But what was it? A ring. The woman was shocked to see. It still looked almost brand new, despite being buried in the rubble for so many years. She went to the police station and told them about the ring. At first, they weren't interested, but she insisted that they take it. Eventually, they agreed and filed it under lost and found. Little did she know it would change everything. An NGO specializing in tracing lost items reached out to the police department to see if they could help. When they learned about the ring, they jumped at the opportunity to take on the case. They felt it was important to reunite families with precious memories. The engraved initials on the ring provided the first clue. The woman had an inkling. It might lead them to the owner, but she never could have guessed who it was. They posted a picture of the ring online, hoping someone would recognize it. Finally, one day, a woman came forward and said it looked familiar. The NGO immediately contacted her and asked if she'd be willing to come to the station to identify it. The moment she laid eyes on the ring, she knew it was hers. Overwhelmed with emotion, she could only nod her head in response. But how did they manage to trace the ring back to her? The answer surprised everyone. When they examined the ring closely, they discovered a name engraved on the inside. They tracked down the owner of that name, and it turned out to be Kayla's maiden name. They then found her social media account and sent her a message explaining they had something that belonged to her. She didn't respond right away, probably because she couldn't believe it herself. Was it really possible after all these years? When she finally replied, the NGO arranged to meet her and hand over the ring. The moment she saw it, she broke down in tears. She couldn't believe it was actually real. It was the same colors in the picture. 8 long years had passed since she last saw it. It seemed like fate itself was trying to tell her something. This ring meant more to her than just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of her love for her husband. Chris had carefully chosen it for her, and she cherished it every single day. Chris's mother had given it to her when they got married. Now, after all these years, it was back in her hands. She couldn't stop touching it, as if trying to imprint its feel in her memory once again. Before she left, she told the people at the NGO that she wanted to place the ring on a chain around her neck, so she could keep it close to her at all times. As she fastened the clasp, she felt an overwhelming sense of emotion. It was a piece of him that she never thought she'd touch again. Her story quickly spread through various news outlets, going viral on TikTok and Facebook. People were moved by the touching tale of love and loss. Soon enough, Kayla's phone was ringing off the hook. Everyone wanted to hear her side of the story. At first, she was hesitant to talk about it, but eventually she began sharing her memories of Chris and how the ring had brought back so much heartache and joy at the same time. She remembered the day Chris proposed to her. It was a cold winter's day, but he'd bundled her up in a warm coat and taken her out for an evening stroll. As they walked hand in hand through the snow, they talked about their future together and how much they loved each other. Then suddenly, Chris stopped and dropped down on one knee. In his hand was a small velvet box. With trembling hands, he opened it and revealed a beautiful sapphire engagement ring. Its sparkling blue stone seemed to glow against the white snow. "Will you marry me?" he asked. Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered, "Yes." From that moment on, the ring became a symbol of their enduring love for one another. And now, 8 long years later, it was back with her. Though she was happy to have the ring back, she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was missing. The moment she slipped it on, an inexplicable hollowness filled her heart. The sparkle seemed dimmer than before, and the sapphire didn't shine as brightly. She missed Chris terribly and wished he was there to see it. For a moment, she closed her eyes and imagined him standing in front of her, smiling and holding her hand. She could almost feel his presence beside her. But then she shook off the thought and forced herself to focus on the present. Now that the ring was back in her possession, she had to move forward with her life. She knew Chris wouldn't want her to live in the past. He'd want her to be happy and move on. With newfound determination, she looked at the ring in her hand. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was a reminder of her strength and resilience. Through her grief, she'd found a way to honor her husband's memory. As days turned into weeks, Kayla grew accustomed to wearing the ring. It became a part of her everyday life again. Everywhere she went, she took it with her. She knew it was more than just a pretty bauble. It represented something special, a bond that death itself couldn't break. Every time she looked down at the sapphire nestled in the metal band, she felt connected to Chris in a way that brought her comfort. The pain of losing him hadn't faded, but the ring served as a constant reminder that their love story wasn't over yet. Hello, friends. Welcome back to our channel where we share with you the most amazing stories from all around the world. Before starting today's story, please subscribe so that you won't miss any future uploads. And without any further delay, let's begin. The year was 2014 when 27-year-old Claire Wynne was getting married to the love of her life, Jacques Wynne. It was a beautiful ceremony held in a church in their hometown. She looked stunning in her white gown and he looked dashing in his suit. Both were madly in love with each other and couldn't wait to spend the rest of their lives together. A few months into the marriage, they decided to move to Beirut, Lebanon, where Claire got a job at a university and Jacques joined a local engineering firm. They rented a house in an upmarket suburb and began their new life, but their happiness was short. In July 2016, civil war broke out in Beirut and the couple's neighborhood was caught in the crossfire. One evening, Jack was at home while Claire was at work. Suddenly, the sound of heavy gunfire and explosions filled the air. Claire rushed home, her heart pounding in her chest. As she opened the door, she saw Jack kneeling by the window, his face pale and his eyes wide with fear. "Get down," he whispered urgently. "There are snipers outside." Claire didn't hesitate. She dropped to the floor, shielding her head with her arms. Then everything went black. When Claire regained consciousness, she found herself lying on the ground, disoriented and wounded. She looked around and realized that she was alone. Where was Jack? Had he survived the attack? Panic surged through her as she tried to get to her feet. The reality of the situation hit her like a ton of bricks. Their house was a scene of devastation. Windows were shattered, walls were crumbling, and personal belongings lay scattered and destroyed around her. With trembling hands, she dialed 911, her voice shaking as she reported the incident. The operator calmly asked her for her location, and medical aid was dispatched swiftly. At the hospital, doctors did everything they could to stabilize Claire and treat her injuries. Fortunately, she was expected to make a full recovery. However, her physical wounds were nothing compared to the emotional turmoil she faced. Days turned into weeks, and still there was no sign of Jacques. Had he survived the attack? The question echoed in Claire's mind day and night. One day, while going through her late husband's belongings, she came across their wedding album. Her eyes fell on a picture of her and Jacques on their wedding day. Looking at the picture, she remembered how happy and hopeful they had been on that day, how they had planned their future together and dreamed of a life filled with love and happiness. She missed his warm embrace, his infectious laughter, and the way he made her feel so loved and cherished. Tears streamed down her face as she clutched the album close to her chest. The pain of losing her husband was as fresh and raw as if it had happened yesterday. She never expected to see him again, not in this lifetime at least, but fate had a different plan. Several years passed since the devastating events of the war, and Claire had slowly rebuilt her life. The pain of losing Jacques would always be a part of her, but she had learned to live with it. She threw herself into her work and found solace in the support of her friends and family. One day, an unexpected visitor arrived at her doorstep. It was a local child who had been playing in the area. He claimed to have found something in the rubble of what used to be the Wynn's house. Intrigued, Claire accompanied the child back to the site. What they found was a wedding ring. It was engraved with the initials CW and JW, along with the date of their wedding, July 2016. Claire recognized it instantly. It was Jacques' wedding ring. Overwhelmed with emotion, she took the ring from the child's outstretched hand, its weight settling heavily in her palm. In that moment, memories of her beloved husband flooded back, bringing both joy and sorrow. It was a tangible link to a past she had tried so hard to forget. Claire knew that this ring had once adorned her husband's finger, symbolizing their bond of love and commitment. Now it had returned to her, perhaps as a message of hope or a reminder of their enduring connection. She carefully placed the ring in a safe place, its presence a constant reminder of the love she had shared with Jacques. News of the discovery spread quickly and reached an NGO called the Lebanon Mountain Trail, which specializes in preserving cultural heritage sites in Lebanon. Intrigued by the story behind the ring, they offered to help Claire trace its origins. After examining the ring, they discovered a small inscription on its inside. It read JW2, CW, forever and always. It was Jacques' parting gift to her. With the help of the NGO, Claire embarked on a mission to find Jacques. They scoured through old photographs and documents, hoping to find any lead. Finally, they tracked down an old friend of Jacques, who provided them with a lead. He told them that Jacques' family had moved to the mountains during the war, and that they might have more information about the ring. Claire and the NGO representatives traveled to the mountains to meet with Jacques' family. They were a close-knit group who had missed their son and grandson deeply. When they heard about Claire's search, they were eager to help. Jacques' mother, a woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, took Claire aside. "You found his ring," she said softly, her voice thick with emotion. "He never took it off, not even when he went to sleep. It was his way of feeling connected to you." After spending some time with Jacques' family, Claire left feeling grateful for their support and understanding. The journey to find Jacques had been long and arduous, but Claire was determined to continue the search. She refused to give up hope that one day she would find him. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Yet Claire's determination never wavered. She continued to search, driven by the belief that somewhere out there, Jacques was waiting to be found. Through it all, the ring remained by her side, a symbol of their enduring love and a reminder of the strength that lay within her. Then one day, after 8 long years, Claire received a call that changed everything. On the other end of the line was someone from the Lebanon Mountain Trail, NGO. "Claire, we have a lead on Jacques," said, their voice filled with excitement. "We believe we may have found him." Adrenaline surged through Claire's veins as she listened intently. Could this be the moment she had been waiting for? After all these years, was she finally going to find Jacques? With a mix of hope and anticipation, Claire agreed to meet the NGO representative at a local cafe. As she entered the cafe, her eyes met those of the NGO representative. There was a broad smile on his face. "I have good news," he said, extending his hand. "This is Jacques." Claire's heart skipped a beat. Standing before her was a man who bore an uncanny resemblance to the Jacques she had known and loved. Could it really be him? As Jacques and Claire embraced, tears of joy streamed down their faces. It was a moment of pure happiness and disbelief, a reunion that seemed almost surreal after all these years. In that moment, their years of separation and the pain of uncertainty seemed to fade away. All that mattered was that they had found each other again. When Claire slipped the ring onto a chain to wear it around her neck, it suddenly felt as if a part of her that she had lost had finally come back to her. She couldn't stop crying. All the pent-up emotions of the past 8 years, the sadness, the longing and the hope, all of it poured out as she clutched the ring in her hands. Today, Claire and Jacques are happily reunited and living in Beirut. The wedding ring that had traveled through the hands of a young boy, crossed paths with an NGO, and touched the hearts of countless people on social media, now serves as a reminder of their enduring love and the resilience of the human spirit. The pain of their separation still lingers, but it is now overshadowed by the joy of being reunited. The ring is no longer just a piece of jewelry. It is a symbol of hope, faith, and the unwavering belief in the power of love to overcome all obstacles. It is a piece of him that she never thought she'd touch again. And that's all for today. Friends, what did you think about the story? Do let us know in the comment section below. We will be back soon with another amazing story. Till then, take care and stay tuned.